what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you're still in your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Hootin' and clapping, boots I am a strapping, a click click clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
4 sharks are out. Mark is interested, but he's not happy with the amount of equity being offered.
Okay, I like the concept, but 10% isn't enough. And I want you guys to come back to me and tell me what's the most equity I can get, how, and how much.
Right.
You can talk.
Let's go talk about it. What if we just ask him for more money? Ask him for more money and offer 15% for $300,000. But that's the same valuation.
Yeah, it'd be the same.
Look, if you look at it as pay-per-view for text, then the fact that it's textbooks now, that's just a start.
The near-term negotiating those publisher agreements is going to take a long time.
Yeah, I think they can get past that because they don't have to be completely dependent. Just pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Mark, we agree with what you're saying. We really value you as an investor. We want you to be very much vested into Packback's growth. We would like to offer you 17.5% for $200,000.
What about $250,000 for 20%?
Would you be willing to do $200,000 for the 20%?
What?
Yes.
No, that's not. No, that's not. We're thinking. No, sit down. No. He did it wrong.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to be in deal with these guys?
Let's hit the rewind button.
Yeah. So we would.
We'll accept your deal.
We would like to accept your deal.
$250. I'll catch you guys.
$250,000 for 20% equity.
There you go.
Yes.
Appreciate it. That was guys. It'll be fun.
You guys wouldn't have been best friends anymore after that one.
That's all right. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
What I actually meant to say was we were hoping to get $250,000 at the 17.5%. I'm a sharp kid. I can do math, but when you're in the tank, it's not that easy, right?
Yeah, that was a code, Brad.
Thomas, we're back, my friend. Bootstrapping in America. Mike, that was pretty cool. That was fun. It was just fun watching you guys up there. Is it nerve-wracking?
Well, it's very intense, and they only show a short segment, but you're there for about an hour, and it's just these rapid-fire questions without much order, so it's pretty intense, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you fired Casey?
No. Casey, we work a lot. We've been working a lot lately, so he can't really talk right now. He's got a sore throat. So
got it. Okay, all right. Was that filmed in Toronto?
That was in L.A.
In L.A.
Yeah.
Okay. So, my son's friends with the guy that's on there, the bald guy. I don't know what it is. It's his daughter. They go to school together.
Oh, Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Kevin O'Leary was pretty cool, actually. They try to, make him out to be kind of the Simon Cowell character.
Yeah.
But, he had a lot of experience in education. He liked what we were doing. He ended up going out, which worked for us. We were basically targeting Mark Cuban. But, yeah, he was a pretty cool guy, actually.
Cool. Well, I think his daughter goes to school. I know his daughter goes to school with my son. I've taken them out to dinner, and he had them up to his house up in Toronto. Or I think they live in Toronto. I don't know.
Really? Okay.
Whatever. But so we had you guys on last summer sometime.
Last summer, yep.
And the funny thing about it is, like, I couldn't remember it, Tony. I was like, I don't remember this. But then as soon as you said, I remember you guys now because you were probably the two of you guys had a great story, but you were probably the rawest, R-A-W, because you guys were just out of school, if I remember.
Right. So Casey was a few weeks out.
You were truly bootstrapping it.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I had actually graduated a year earlier, so we're a year apart in school. And Casey had just graduated, gotten married, moved out. This crazy month, right? And then we go on bootstrapping in America. So it's been a pretty wild year, almost a year since then. Essentially what we did, we were planning for a pilot launch at the time when we last spoke. We ended up at Illinois State University launching a pilot. At the time, we were selected as entrepreneurs in residence under Shapiro and Associates, so one of the premier research firms in town. And essentially what we did was we took a research-backed approach to the company's launch. So what Shapiro had historically done...
Stop for a second. What do you mean a research-backed approach?
So what we did, we would bring in students from different tiers of schools, so Northwestern, University of Chicago, DePaul, Loyola, community schools, and we would do a lot of different focus groups and surveys to basically get in-depth on what their learning behaviors were and why there's been a barrier to the digital adoption for these students. And so with that... What
was the answer?
Well, a lot of different answers. So primarily, though, the first barrier is the pricing point. So if you look at a student's learning behaviors right now, they've basically mastered a methodology of preparing for an exam. And they've done that with a paper notebook, paper book. If you look at what happened with consumer ebooks, right, they're basically incentivized by a $9.99 Amazon Kindle ebook price.
Sure.
So right now, these students, they prefer the physical book to prepare for an exam. And then the pricing point of a used physical book is far cheaper than a digital textbook. So there's really nothing incentivizing them to convert to being digital users.
Why would that be the case? That a used book is cheaper than a digital textbook?
Oh, yeah. So if you look at the industry, right, it's an $8.2 billion textbook industry.
I'm confused, but I understand.
Right. So $5.6 billion of that is the used market. So a learning company provides the content. So publisher learning company, they can sell it basically in the first 12 months that it's out on the shelves. But once it's out there, it gets picked up by all these online retailers. Even bookstores are selling used books. And so those prices come dramatically low. And then a digital textbook right now is oftentimes about 50% off the new list price. But it's still not as cheap as like a Chegg or an Amazon used book price. So it creates a lot of issues in the industry where it's tough to gain that recurring revenue. And then a ton of money is being dumped into investing into some really great, next wave adaptive learning technologies. But when students prefer the physical book, it's hard to kind of expedite that actual inherent demand.
So what do you guys do that's different?
So what we do is, instead of a student having to basically make a fast judgment call on whether they buy a used book or don't buy a book because the supply runs out. So a student goes to class, they have to decide, okay, I'm going to buy a book right now or I'm not going to buy it. What we do is we take the pressure off. A student can hold off on buying anything. They rent for a day at a time in digital format, typically around a $5 pricing point, and they can sort of feel out each individual professor's teaching style. So based on the professor, they may only use the textbook as a reference point before each of, on average, 4 exams. Or they might be using it every week.
A pay-for-play model.
Right. So that's kind of the core offering you'll see here on the website. We also offer services where we'll show students the cheapest prices across the web. And then at the end of the semester, another big pain point is that students sell their book to the bookstore and they're getting nickels on the dollar. So with Packback, we'll actually show them where all the online retailers, what pricing points they're buying books for to build up their inventory. And we make it very easy for those students to then sell their books for a better price.
So how many schools, universities, schools, colleges are you in right now?
So we have users at 46 different campuses right now. Basically, our approach is to build up campus ambassador teams on a range of universities. So we have close to 50 ambassadors, strong teams at about 15 campuses right now, and that's growing. And so, our approach is basically we can't partner with the university, but we'll partner with the student organizations.
So, and what does the student organization do? They're marketing for you, and then you do a rev share with them?
Yeah, so we do a program called Packback Gives Back, where we'll actually do a rev share with student organizations for them to do fundraisers, or we have some fraternities that say U of I that are looking to donate to charity, and so the rev share goes to charity for them. We do a lot of different interesting things. Our ambassadors basically have an opportunity to get involved in the Chicago startup scene, which is pretty attractive.
But do you have to, when you do this, do you have to also pay the book companies?
Yeah, so as far as, our digital rentals,
right,
we have direct licensing agreements with publishing companies, learning companies.
Right.
And so, they get a revenue share off of that. We're essentially saying that we're opening up a new revenue stream for these companies, which in our pilot was a 58% increase in revenue. So it's no kind of small incremental gain. There's a significant amount of revenue.
So do you have revenue yet?
Yeah, so we have a few, we basically have just done a test pilot. So, we were at, about $8,000 in revenue. But that's, kind of at this point, we went from 21 textbooks to now we have 2,500. So now we're at the point of scaling out. We essentially had to do a proof of concept, which was pretty successful for us. And
are you accepting Bitcoins?
That's actually the only currency that we accept.
Bitcoins are lower right now than $462. So,
Bitcoins and college flex dollars. So the pilot was very successful. We always would get a ton of excitement from students, and it was really about a proof of concept for the industry.
So have these guys, since you won the money, since you accepted capital in return for an equity share, you have the money, correct?
So we're closing everything on our seed round of funding, but so Mark Cuban's a solidified.
They honored
investor.
everything
So Mark's been an awesome investor. We send him weekly progress updates. He's very involved. He's really kind of gotten down to the nitty gritty on a few different points.
So how have these guys? How have different professionals like Howard and Cuban and just a couple other people, have they changed? What kind of impact have they had just on how you think on a day-to-day basis and how you think kind of product-wise or vision-wise? Do you think bigger because of them?
I think absolutely. So to have guys like, our board consists of Howard Tolman and Mark Ackler. So Mark's most recent history was with Redbox. Saw a lot of parallels with how Redbox was monetizing underperforming content, right? I think we absolutely, it helps you kind of think bigger and look at strategically, how, for us, it was always about students, right, early on. And I think we've started to really, and with Shapiro, the research, taking a look at, how are we actually improving the industry?
Because these guys are going to pressure you to be big.
Which is absolutely, a good thing,
right. Which is a good thing. That's what you want.
Yeah.
But it's hard for people, you're still young. It's hard for you to think big if you've never been there.
Still trying to learn how to buy lunch. I mean, you can know. I mean, to think to the next level, it's a big step.
So you've hired your first technologist. You're starting to build a team here in Chicago. Right. You've graduated up to kind of a different level of incubator. And now what? Now you're real.
Right. So now we're essentially expanding. So our digital catalog is expanding every month. We've got a list of partnerships that are kind of right there to close, which is very exciting. Our student teams on campuses are growing. Obviously, we're about to announce a close of a seed round of funding, which is pretty significant. In addition to Mark Cuban, we've got guys like, you've had Alan Matthew on here, Rishi Shah with Context Media is very close with us. So we just have a really great. I think that's probably the coolest part about being in Chicago is that once you kind of crack into this community, we started meeting kind of, I think probably everybody that's been on the show, we met with them at some point. So we have this great supporting cast.
So you're basically trying to say that we kind of made this for you.
Yeah, I think we came back here.
You're basically saying that you one appearance here originally when you guys didn't have anything, and we kind of gave you a vehicle to kind of
that 2.5% you partner with.
We opened up the world to you. Now, don't forget where you came from. Don't bite the hand that may feed you. Don't forget about the rev share piece. Now,
right. Yeah, the 8 million viewers on Shark Tank is nice, but when you get on Tasty Trade,
that's right.
Shark Tank is bullshit. Just remember that. It doesn't make any difference. These are real viewers.
78% of students open their textbooks less than once a week.
That's true. Yeah. So that's
as a parent, $5 to just view it, I guess, is a cheap.
Way better trade.
So here's the thing, right? It's all driven by professor behavior. Now, this doesn't mean that the students are not studying. It means that the professor has a wide range of resources to put out the necessary information.
And it means they're not studying.
But no, it really doesn't though. They on a week by week basis, the textbook might not be that resource, and so for them to use it as a reference in some of those courses, the Packback strictly daily rental model works. We also allow a direct conversion at a direct discount from say a 180-day rental. If a student rented 3 times, they realize I need the book every day. They're not wasting any money. They can then convert to an extended rental, and now we've basically provided lead gen for our learning companies that we partner with.
So you're building up this small. How old are you now?
Now I'm 24.
24.
So I'm gray hairs and everything.
Oh, yeah, you're gray hairs. You're 24 years old. You're on your way to raising your first capital round. You're building up your business. You're starting to hire people. The game changes, and all of a sudden it's real now.
Right.
And you hire people that are, you'll hire 35-year-old developers, and now people count on you. It's their livelihood. You've got, it's very different.
It is.
You're ready to take on that. Like, can you handle that? Are you ready to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
it's easy. I'm not saying it's hard. I'm saying it's easy. If you're into it, it's easy.
Right. Well, and I don't know that I would even say it's easy, but it's when you're recruiting the right kind of people.
It's easy to tackle. Nobody knows if they're going to be successful.
Right.
It's easy to tackle. It's easy to put everything you've got into.
Right. And the people that we've attracted, so we have a CTO who spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley. We have a lead developer who's been on a few different startups, and we have the type of people who are ready to go all in. Everybody's in the office on Saturdays, right? And so it's very much.
It's a great feeling, right?
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say that we're taking people from old industries that aren't used to the startup lifestyle, right? So it's like-minded individuals.
It's Mike. It's a great. You guys were a great story. Remember the first time they were on? Do you remember?
Sure.
What we liked about them when you guys left, what we liked about you guys was that it was almost there was a certain level of innocence, but we really liked your gameplay. We liked your idea. And it was clear at the time, just even from listening to your first round of stories, that there was enough people interested in your idea that it had legs. Right. Whether or not you could have pulled it off, we didn't know. Nobody knows. There's 600, 700 people come through here, over a course of a couple of years. We never know who's got the heart to kind of execute on it. But the cool thing is, you've taken this to. It's only been since last summer. It's only been 9 months.
Right.
For a 24-year-old, you've made a huge leap, which 24-year-old, by the way, you can change the world at 24. I'm not saying that. Right. So you've taken a huge leap already, which is really impressive. And you've surrounded yourself with a bunch of smart people. And although you got to do your own thing, I don't know. It sounds pretty good. It's a bullish story.
I think you're on I think you got an upward start. I mean, you're there with
it's a really good. It's a feel-good story. It's a really feel-good story for Chicago startups and for kind of ideation and just the whole, conceptually building something.
I think the point that you hit on about people can familiarize with the issue that we're tackling is dead on. So if I take a Lyft to go somewhere, right, and I talk to the driver about what we're doing, they always ask for the card because they want to tell their sister who's in college about it, right?
Because we either have kids,
right?
We either have kids or
everybody's
we're them.
Affected. Sure.
Everybody, there's almost you're in the perfect demographic. I mean, I guess right now because baby boomers that are my age have kids in college,
right,
and the next generation is just there right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely the producer for Shark Tank who actually saw our video, she called us and said, I saw your video and I thought, oh my God, I needed that in college, and that's why I called you guys. And so, I think that just kind of resonated pretty strongly.
It's a great
with us.
story, man. Yeah. We love it, and we kind of feel like we've been involved, even though it hasn't been from an investment level.
No, definitely.
Damn you! You should have asked us for money first. But it's been. We feel like we've been involved with you guys from the beginning, so we can't wait to hear how this thing progresses and watch how you guys do over the next couple of years. It's going to be amazing. Thanks.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll definitely come in.
Thanks.
You speak very well. Very good. I'm going to be back in about 3 minutes. We got Good Trade, Bad Trade next. Listen to Taste Trade Live.